The 578th edition of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. You can win up 100 times your entry with the Underdog Fantasy Pick'em. Sign up with promo code MMA SGPN to claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer of up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code MMA SGPN. We're also brought to you by the Mega Memorial Merch Sale, 15% off everything in the SGPN merch store. Just use promo code SGPNMay. And make sure to act now because the sale ends on Friday.
Howdy ho, degenerinos. Welcome to episode 578 of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Going out to one of our friends on the YouTube, Stuffy McStuff. Not Stuffly McStuff. I was going to say, I think I like Stuffy McStuff first. So please, sir, I assume you're a sir because you're all sirs. Change it to Stuffy McStuff. And yeah, Stuffly McStuff enjoyed Gumby's Chiquino Noso Pedro pick. So this goes out to you. That is a regional fighter. We are not talking about regional fighting for a change. It's one of the rare UFC episodes as of late. Not just a UFC episode, a UFC pay-per-view episode before we move on to the very exciting Cannonier versus Imavov fight card, which is going down in a week's time. Today is UFC 302. I am Jeff Chalks Fox, your host, and it is going down the Prudential Center this coming Saturday night, June the 1st. Yesterday, we covered the 7 prelim fights. We got a little silly with a couple of our picks and disagreed on which ones to get silly on. So you can check that out and see if any of our silly picks are not silly in your eyes. Today it is main card time, pay-per-view time. Only one championship fight for a change on the fight card here. We shall break it all down for you, give the winning picks, but stick around to the end when we give you all our special plays. I'm sure Gumby has a Hungry Man Jong parlay cooked up that's going to win this week. We're due for this year. So let's bring him in. You may wonder who is Gumby. That would be Daniel Gumby Breland, my co-host. Hello, Mr. Breland.
Hey, you on the last show said that you were feeling not so chalky, and then we're still kind of chalky.
Was I though? Maybe I was talking about this card on a whole. Oh yeah, Almeida was going to be a dog, but he flipped on me. I was. You're right. I picked 2 dogs. Looks like I was going to have 3 dogs. So I think this card maybe I have some dogs coming up. Gumby, maybe I do, but maybe
a little foreshadowing.
But maybe I just clued in that the co-main event is actually 5-minute rounds. Maybe that'll change something, right?
It might not. I don't know.
Thoughts on the pay-per-view portion of the card? Is this worth our $70, Gumby?
I mean, as much as any UFC pay-per-view is worth $70.
Yeah. So no, the answer is no, it's not.
Yeah, I mean, if you're the type of person who pays for UFC pay-per-views,
listen to this.
There's no reason not to continue here.
He's shaming you people that are above the law. Not above the law.
I'm not above the law. I always follow the law.
Yeah, it's I don't know.
It's fine.
It shall be a fine time had by all. We are going to give you all 5 fights today and all the fancy plays at the end. And we're going to jump into it after I tell you that it's college baseball season. Well, it's coming up to the end of college baseball season. It's the most exciting time though, because the college baseball tournament starts this Friday, and our man Noah Beanick has you covered with the college baseball experience. The man knows his college sports, especially college baseball. Plus, hop in the college baseball bracket contest for a chance to win a $200 SGPN gift card. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/bracket. Plus, we're running a mega Memorial Day merch sale for the rest of this month, even though Memorial Day is over. 15% off everything in the merch store. Promo code SGPN May. Obviously, you're going to want to check out the MMA Gambling Podcast gear because that's the best gear in there. But every show has amazing gear in there. Not just gear, knickknacks, patty wax, all the good things are in there. So check it out. All right, let's get into this here UFC 302. It's all right. Okay, the pay-per-view is all right, Gumby says.
It's fine.
And
it's fine.
It's fine, is what he said. We got a 10 p.m. start time as per usual. We're kicking things off with a fighter who is on Gumby's Top Turtle MMA podcast this week. If you haven't listened already, listen in to Rude Boy Randy Brown. He's in a welterweight fight against Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos. That's the opener of our pay-per-view. I'm going to tell you about ELDS first. That would be Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos. Capoeira is a nickname, so that's what he does. He's 24-7-1, 14 knockouts, 3 submissions. He's been knocked out once, submitted twice, 10-3-1 in the UFC, 2-0-1 over his last 3. The draw came in his last fight. He's not lost a fight since July of 2020. Sneakily getting the job done still. Was a regional champion, 2009, debut. It's a professional, better striking stats than Brown. He's outstruck his opponents by 1.19 strikes per minute in the UFC. He's at plus 155. Rude boy, Randy Brown, 18-5, 7 knockouts, 5 submissions. He's been knocked out twice, submitted twice. 12-5 in the UFC. He's won 2 straight and 6 of 7. The only loss coming to Jack Della Maddalena over that stretch. Won his last fight via KO. Regional champion, 2014 Pro MMA debut. 4 inches height, 5 inches of reach over Dos Santos, 4 years younger than him. He's outstruck his opponents by 1.04 strikes per minute. Better grappling stats than Dos Santos, minus 170. Give me the rude boy. Sneaky, good fighter. Resume just getting better by the fight. And he's basically good everywhere. He doesn't really have any real weaknesses here that I think Dos Santos can zero in on. It helps that he's substantially bigger and slightly younger as well. So give me the rude boy.
I think the size is going to be a big issue here too, because like Zaleski, I'm not going to say he fights like he does Capoeira, because I think that's kind of played out. He's just Brazilian and he sometimes uses a spinning attack, but like he does strive on being the guy who can hit you from further away and who can move in and out. And I think he's going to have a tough time doing that against Randy Brown. And then even if he does sort of succeed with that, like he does throw a lot of like leg kicks and stuff like that, I could definitely see Randy Brown taking him down and making him work there. And it's not like Randy Brown uses that a lot, but also like Randy Brown, as you sort of mentioned at the top, is crafty enough in just about every scenario that like it wouldn't surprise me to see him go to something that's not preferred just because he's got an advantage there. So I think Brown's going to piece him up from distance. He's probably going to put the pressure on him. And I think, like maybe mixing in the wrestling once in a while just to keep it interesting. But yeah, I like Randy Brown quite a bit in this spot too.
Randy Brown, take him down, but he can also beat him on the feet. So that works as well. Heavyweights, not a main event, but they're on the pay-per-view, of course. Jailton, Almeida versus Alexandr Romanov, 2 of our sons or former sons. I don't know if we've kicked both of them out of the house. We kicked Romanov out for sure. I think Almeida, he's still, maybe he's in the guest house. Let's tell you about Romanov first. He's King Kong. 17-2, 6 knockouts, 9 submissions. He's been knocked out once. 6-2 in the UFC, 1-2 over his last 3, but he did win his last fight to get off the Schneid. Regional champion, bronze medalist in wrestling, not in the Olympics, but I think it was on the world level. That was freestyle wrestling. More active landing strikes than Almeida. He's outstruck his opponents in the UFC by 1.86 strikes per minute. Based on the last weigh-ins, he outweighed Almeida by 23 pounds because Almeida really is a light heavyweight. Romanov at plus 240 on the betting boards. Almeida 20-3, 7 knockouts, 12 submissions. He's been knocked out twice. 6-1 in the UFC, 15-1 over his last 16 fights. He did get knocked out in his last fight by Curtis Blades. He used to fight at welterweight, which is crazy to think. Welterweight, middleweight, and light heavyweight. 1-0 contender series. He has welterweight championships on his
mantle.
Correct. The shirt, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store. 2012 Pro MMA debut. An inch of height, 4 inches of reach over Romanov. Better grappling stats. He's outstruck his opponents in the UFC and contender series by 1.8 strikes per minute. Minus 250. Which of our sons are you choosing here?
I can't believe Jailton's negative 250 in this fight. He should be negative 3,000.
3,000.
Dude, like, I know people are selling on Jailton just a little bit after the loss to Curtis Blades, but can I ask why?
Yeah.
Like he took Curtis Blades down 10 times. Curtis Blades might be the best wrestler in the heavyweight division right now. And you might have to ask that question of perhaps ever. Like not that, like you want to put him up against Mark Coleman. Obviously, that's like a different time, or you want to put him against Randy Couture again. That's a different time. But like, as far as like modern MMA skills go, like this dude has consistently been one of the best heavyweight wrestlers of all time. And he got taken down 10 times in 5 minutes by Jailton Almeida. That just shows you what Jailton Almeida is able to do in the grappling. Now, the fact that Jailton Almeida went for number 11 and took some elbows to the side of the head, sure, that's like kind of a bummer. But at the same time, like, is Romanov the type of guy who's going to do that? No, Romanov's the type of guy who, when he gets taken down 3 times, quits. We've seen it time and time again from Alexandr Romanov. That dude quits in the cage. He quit when he got kicked in the balls by Juan Espino and he was about to lose that decision. And really, when it went to the technical decision, he should have lost that decision. And like, there's a whole lot of other instances of Romanov when either he doesn't get his takedown or, God forbid, somebody else pressure them with grappling. And he's like, oh shit, that advantage doesn't exist anymore. He's done. He might as well hang it up. And in this fight, he doesn't have the grappling advantage. I think he's going to quit. If he makes it past, I'm going to say, if he makes it halfway through the fight, I will be shocked.
That's coming from a disappointed parent. You're really disappointed on our boy. Yeah.
Well, I also love Jailton. I also think,
yeah.
You know, I am disappointed in Romanov because I know what he could have been when he suplexed Roque Martinez 31 times in his debut.
Yeah.
But also, like, selling on Jailton right now is insane. He just had a great first round against Curtis Blades. Like, how do you sell on him after that?
Yeah. Yep. I am going with Jailton as well. Has the advantage wherever this goes. Romanov's going to want to wrestle, but good luck with that. Yeah, Jailton is the pick here. Good fight for him to get back into the winning column. Let's go to a middleweight fight now, shall we? This one's got Kevin Holland in it, so it'll be interesting versus Michal Oleksiejczuk. Oleksiejczuk on the not just on a pay-per-view, but third from the top on a pay-per-view. Hustler has moved up in the world. So Oleksiejczuk is 19-7 with 1 no contest, 14 knockouts, 1 submission, but knocked out once, submitted 5 times. 7-5 with 1 no contest in the UFC. Loss over his last 3. Got submitted in his last fight. Used to fight at 205. Has failed a drug test in the past. Was regional champion. Used to fight. He missed weight, but that was down when he was at middleweight. Actually, this is at middleweight, so be aware of that. 2014 Pro MMA debut. 3 years younger than Holland. Better striking stats. More active landing strikes than Holland. He's outstruck his UFC opponents by 0.8 strikes per minute. Plus 235. No respect for Hustler. Trailblazer Kevin Holland. We still don't know what that trail is that he's blazing, but he's blazing one nonetheless. He's 25-11 with 1 no contest, 14 knockouts, 7 submissions. He's been knocked out once, submitted 3 times. 12-8 with 1 no contest in the UFC. He's lost 2 straight fights. Before that, he won 2 straight fights. Before that, he lost 2 straight fights. So that's basically what you get from Kevin Holland. Used to fight at welterweight, 1 no in Contender Series, 1 no in Bellator, multiple regional championships on his
mantle.
Correct. Get the shirt, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store. Get sticky with it. And SGPN May is your code. So you can save money getting sticky. 3 inches height, 7 inches reach over Oleksiejczuk. He's outstruck his opponents in the UFC by 1.05 strikes per minute. Better grappling stats than Oleksiejczuk, minus 265. I don't have any faith in Kevin Holland. I'm taking Oleksiejczuk here. Yeah, I know. Crazy.
What makes you have faith in Michal Oleksiejczuk?
Yeah.
He knocked out Sam Alvey in a sloppy fucking 2-minute fight.
He knocked out he knocked out a poor man's Kevin Holland, because Holland doesn't wrestle when he should. Chidi Njokuani.
Chidi Njokuani got tired in that fight. Chidi Njokuani beat the crap out of him for 3 minutes, and then he realized you can't just punch him in the head nonstop for 3 minutes because you get tired. And then he also quit in that fight, and then got his walking papers, if I'm not mistaken, right? Like
Gumby is not taking Oleksiejczuk currently. No, I'm taking them. I don't have any faith in Holland fighting smart and not eating a shot from Oleksiejczuk. So give me Oleksiejczuk. Big dog.
But the one thing about Kevin Holland is that he doesn't walk into stuff on the feet. You know what I mean? Like he don't get me wrong. Is he dumb? Sure. Yeah. Like I don't have a lot of faith in him either. And actually, when I heard he was coming up to 185 pounds, I was like, that's stupid too, because he's not better fit for 185 pounds than he is down at 170. But like, we're talking about him coming off of back-to-back losses to excellent strikers, Jack Della Maddalena and Michael Venom Page. And neither of those excellent strikers managed to knock this guy out. You know, neither did, I mean, I guess Wonder Boy, after, what was that, 4 rounds of the Wonder Boy fight, he like quit on the stool, but that was after 4 rounds of boxing with Wonder Boy, and Wonder Boy still didn't put him down. And like, I don't know what would make Michal Oleksiejczuk the guy who's going to finally tag Kevin Holland in all of this. And I definitely don't think Michal Oleksiejczuk's about to win a 15-minute striking decision with Kevin Holland. You know, I was down on him moving up to 85. I'm down on him in general because I think he fights really stupidly most of the time. But then when they were like, but it's going to be Michal Oleksiejczuk, I was like, Well, I guess I'm back to picking Kevin Holland then.
All right. Gumby's taking Kevin Holland. You sound happy about it too. So
I'm not. I feel similar to the Aileen Perez fight. Is like his in cage antics of like talking crap while he's like losing fights. Not for me, but also like I don't see a way that Oleksiejczuk gets his hands on him.
Hopefully he finds a way. We'll see. One thing we do agree on is underdog fantasy. The NBA playoffs are here. We agree on that as well, that the NBA playoffs are here. It's just a fact. And our sponsor, Underdog Fantasy, wants to make it a lot more interesting. Underdog Fantasy is the easiest place to play fantasy sports. Playing their pick'em game is as simple as selecting higher or lower on player stats like points, rebounds, assists, and so much more. Big entries of all basketball or mix and match across your other favorite sports. You can win up to 100 times your money, and it's a ton of fun. Check out their main home screen, underdogfantasy.com. You shall see a daily special on there. Plus, if you're a new customer, you get a pick 'em special in the lobby when you sign up. Underdog will also be running a ton of different promos, bonus cash airdrops, specials, giveaways, and more throughout the NBA playoffs. So make sure to follow their Twitter account, Underdog Picks, to check it all out and keep an eye on it. Underdog is available in 30 plus states, including California, Texas, and the best state of all, Canada. They also just launched Champions, their player versus player format in Florida. Sign up with our code MMASGPN, pretty please, to claim your special pick and first-time deposit. Offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code MMASGPN. Co-main event time. And as I mentioned off top, it is 5-minute rounds. And it is a middleweight fight. And it is former champ, which sounds silly to say, but it is true. And it's only middleweight. So it's Sean Strickland versus Paulo Costa. 5-minute rounds. Costa Borchina is a nickname. Eraser. I guess a little eraser then, right?
Right.
Yeah, you never hear a little eraser, though. You just hear eraser with him.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a type of eraser when it's an ENA, but maybe it's like a pencil's eraser instead of the big pink chunky ones.
Maybe. So Gumby says Borchina, Paulo Costa has a small eraser, is what you're saying. All right, 14-3, 11 knockouts, 1 submission. He's been knocked out once. 6-3 in the UFC, 1-3 over his last 4. He did lose his last fight. The only fighter he's beat in that 4-fight stretch was Luke Rockhold, who he almost lost to. Used to fight at 205, 1-1 on the Ultimate Fighter. He's got multiple championships on his
mantle.
Correct at shirt, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store. SGPN May is your code. And get sticky while you're at it. 2012 Pro MMA debut, more active landing strikes than Strickland. He's been outstruck in the UFC by 0.18 strikes per minute. He's at plus 200. Tarzan Strickland, even though I'd never hear anyone ever call him Tarzan. He's 28, and especially now that he's bald, 28-6, 11 knockouts, 4 submissions. He's been knocked out twice. 15-6 in the UFC, and the former champion of the world up until last fight. 3-1. The one came in his last fight. That's when you lost. Used to fight up at light heavyweight, down at welterweight. Was a regional champion. 2008 Pro MMA debut. 4 inches of reach over Costa. He's outstruck his opponents in the UFC by 1.58 strikes per minute, and he's at minus 230. Gumby.
Give me Paulo Costa.
Okay. I was going to switch because it's 5-minute rounds, but okay, go ahead. I'll let you talk first.
Well, here's the thing about Sean Strickland, right? Is that like, let's take all of his recent 5-round losses into account, right? Mm-hmm. You could take the Cannonier one, you could take the Dricus Duplessis one, whatever one you want to go back and look at. Why did he lose those fights? It's because no matter whether he outstrikes you or not, Jared Cannonier, Dricus Duplessis hit him so much harder than he hits them. For every 5 shots he lands on them and every 1 shot they land in return, those judges weigh that 1 shot more. And based on the criteria in the official MMA rulebook, they should score it higher. Mm-hmm. It's cumulative strikes and single strikes with preference given to single strikes. So if I throw 5 strikes and break your nose, you throw 1 right and break my nose. The 1 right that breaks my nose ranks higher than the 5 that added up to breaking my nose. So like, I think Paulo Costa is going to be the one hitting those bigger shots in this fight. I don't think Sean Strickland's going to wrestle. I think Paulo Costa could maybe if he really wanted to. And then on top of all of that, you take Paulo Costa's performance against Robert Whittaker and you mean to say like, you don't think he can land on Sean Strickland? Because my God, did he land on Robert Whittaker? And like, I don't know. I know Sean Strickland held the belt and all. I don't rank him even as close to being as good as Robert Whittaker in there. And Paulo Costa held his own with them. So I'm going to say Paulo Costa is going to come in here. He's going to land the bigger shots. Would not surprise me to see him take 3 out of the 5 rounds here on only 2 of the judges' scorecards. The other one will give 4 rounds to Sean Strickland inexplicably. But we'll sweat out a split decision here at plus 200.
Oh, you're going to make a prop play here too, are you?
I mean, like, does this not feel like a split decision fight?
Sure. If Strickland doesn't get himself knocked out. I'm glad you didn't talk me out of Costa, because he was the one I had my name down at. I'm a little concerned about the 25-minute fight, but he did look very good in his last fight against Whitaker, which was a surprise. We kind of had him written off. And Strickland is not going to grapple. He should, but he won't. Costa's a decent grappler anyhow. And there's a lot of risk standing on the feet for 25 minutes against a guy like Costa. So, all right, we're both going with Paulo Costa here. So there you go. A big underdog for you. All right, let's get you to the main event now. Lightweights, Islam Makhachev versus Dustin Poirier. 5-minute rounds. Dustin, the Diamond Poirier. 30-8 with 1 no contest. 15 knockouts, 8 submissions. He's been knocked out 3 times, submitted 3 times. 22-7 with 1 no contest in the UFC. Lost win over his last 4. He got knocked out. Sorry, he won via knockout in his last fight against Benoit Saint Denis. Used to fight at featherweight. 1-1 WEC. 2009 pro MMA debut. 2 inches reach over Makhachev. Twice more active landing strikes than Makhachev is. And he's outstruck his UFC opponents by 1.09 strikes per minute, plus 500. Makhachev, 25-1, 5 knockouts, 11 submissions. He's been knocked out once. 14-1 in the UFC. He's the champion, current champion. He's already defended his title twice. He won 13 straight fights, won his last fight via knockout. He's not lost fights since October 2015. 2010 was when he made his pro MMA debut. He's Sambo world champion. He's got an inch of height over Poirier, 2 years younger than him. Better striking stats, better grappling stats than Poirier. He's outstruck his opponents in the UFC by 1.19 strikes per minute, minus 600. Obviously, Makhachev is my pick here. He's basically Khabib with hands. Poirier just does not have the game to beat him. I know he's a fan favorite, but there's I don't see any realm that he's better than Makhachev here, especially when Makhachev is knocking people out on the feet now. So give me Islam Makhachev minus 600. Oh boy.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick Makhachev, but I'm also gonna buck a few of the things you said there. I do think he's a better striker than Islam Makhachev. Islam Makhachev might have knocked out, short notice 145 pounder Alexandr Volkanovski, but like I don't pencil that into him being some like outstanding striker now. I also think he is a better striker than Khabib, but I don't think he's the same level of grappler as Khabib. If you watch his control on the mat, like his control on the mat is not the same as Khabib's. And that might lead to Dustin Poirier getting up a little bit more and having a little bit more success. I just don't think there's enough room for error here for Dustin Poirier. He's gonna have to get Makhachev out of there in order to win a decision here. He's not going to be on his feet long enough to win it. I also think, despite the fact he seems to be joking when he talks about the guillotines,
he's not.
I think he's being real. I really do believe. And like
he does it every fight almost, so he's being real.
He did it against Benoit Saint Denis and he lost the first round. And like you can give the first round to Benoit Saint Denis because you're that much better of a boxer, and Benoit Saint Denis has not been into deep waters. But guess who has been into deep waters? Islam Makhachev. He went 25 minutes rather with Alexandr Volkanovski the first time. And like, was it a close fight? Was it a tight fight? For sure. But Alexandr Volkanovski is one of the best pound for pound fighters on the planet, regardless of his recent knockouts or not. Like, he's not an easy guy to go 25 minutes with. I think Poirier just gives up too many positions in this fight to have a realistic expectation of winning. I don't think Makhachev is as hittable as the people who Dustin Poirier is beating with his hands. I think you got to go Makhachev here. I don't like the negative 600 line for sure, but he's the pick here.
You don't think the line's gonna? I think yesterday I mentioned how it may move in our favor.
I don't think so. I think it's gonna go.
The fanboys aren't gonna move the line for us. No.
Because most of the people who think like, okay, I'm going to take Dustin Poirier, like you might as well take him on the KO prop, right? Because or those of you sickos out there thinking about him winning by guillotine, right? Like you might as well take the guillotine prop because, like, first of all, it's going to be 3 times higher, right, than his money line, right? His money line's 500. You're probably going to get him by submission at 800, 900, or whatever it is, and like he's not going to win a decision here. You might as well take the inside the distance on him. So I don't think that's going to really affect the money lines here. I think you're going to see Poirier's props go down a little bit here and there, but I think you're going to see Islam Makhachev get squeezed into a bunch of parlays and his number blow up even further.
All right. Okay, we'll give you a recap. Don't you run away yet, because we have some more picks for you before we're out of here, before my laptop dies, hopefully. All right, we've got both have Makhachev. We both have Costa. He has Holland. I have Oleksiejczuk. Both have Almeida. We both have a rude boy, Randy Brown. All right, locks, dogs, props, parlays, all that fancy stuff. Gumby gets to kick it off this week, I believe.
All right.
Going to regardless.
I'm going to regardless anyway. I also wrote down right here on this here slip of paper your lock and your dog. So
nice.
Yeah, I already know.
I hope you have a prop figured out for me as well.
Yeah, I don't because you don't even have the prop. Okay, my lock. I'm going to take Jailton Almeida. I know it's a little bit steeper than I usually go, but Jailton Almeida -250. I mean, Romanov's going to quit in that fight. I'll take Almeida all day.
Boy, he is really down on our boy. All right. Gumby, tell the people what my lock pick is, or you want me to say it first?
No, you say it, and then after you do your lock and your dog, I will reveal the piece of paper, and you can tell me. I'll show you how right I was.
Rude boy Randy Brown is my lock.
Okay. And then for my dog, I'm gonna take. I no sold it, so you wouldn't know if I was right or not.
Yeah. No, you sold it.
My dog, I'm gonna take Phil Rowe. I think Phil Rowe over Jake Matthews, absolute steal this week.
And I'm taking Phil Rowe as well. Show us the paper. Look at Kreskin. Look at Kreskin there. Boom. He got them both right. Amazing.
Nailed it.
Nailed it. I hope. Well, dogs isn't too hard because I don't have a heck of a lot of dogs. And I usually like to take a dog that you picked as well. So that eliminated at least one of them.
Yeah. But I got Brown right too, which is pretty good. I know that well. My prop's actually pretty easy this week. I like the main event. In the main event, I was looking for a way to find value on it so that this fight could be interesting to me. I mean, I'm going to be like rooting for Poirier. I'd love to see him pull it off. The guillotine would be hilarious. But as far as a prop to make this one kind of like fun to watch, I'm just going to take the over 2.5 rounds. I think Dustin Poirier, he's been finished a lot early in his fights when he does get finished, to be fair. And I think that's probably why you're seeing the juice all on the under here. But I'm going to take the over. Over is coming in at +123 on over 2.5 rounds. I think he's going to survive. I also think Makhachev is not going to come out there guns blazing. I think you're going to see a patient Dustin Poirier looking for his spots. If he does jump guillotine for a couple rounds, that's fine. I like his chances to survive on the bottom. I don't think he's going to get give up his back and get rear naked choked right away. He mostly was pretty safe with Khabib until he wasn't. So give me the over 2.5 in the main event.
I got a crazy prop that you wouldn't be able to guess. Grant Dawson by TKO or KO +550.
Okay, you went hard. I would not have.
I know.
I got the first two right, but you weren't going to get that.
I could not find a dog. I'm like, I couldn't find a prop. I'm like, let's try this one. Better striker. He's only knocked out one person in the UFC, true, but I can see him getting a ground and pound win over Joe Zaleski. He's going to be the better grappler here, and Zaleski just got knocked out in his last fight. So who's to say what his chin's like at this point? So Dawson. All right, so Almeida, Brown are the locks. Rowe are our dogs. Main over 2.5 rounds, and Dawson via knockout are our props. All right, Hungry Man Jog, Superman Parlay, 2-fight parlay. Gumby, go ahead.
We're going to let the TKOs fly in this one. We're going to take two of my favorite fighters on this card by TKO. We're going to take my lock, first of all, Jailton Almeida, TKO over Alexandr Romanov. I think this line is only as high as it is at +350 because I think people think the submission's really in play. And look, I think there's totally a chance where Alexandr Romanov rolls over and gives up because he's getting beat up too much. But also he's had good takedown defense in his career. So the +350 for Jailton Almeida by TKO, I'm digging that. And then I'm going to pair him with Basil Hafiz. I think Hafiz is going to be so much better of a striker than Mickey Gall. I think there's a chance we see him knock him out on the feet. And I also think there's a chance we see like a ground and pound finish for Hafez too on the mat. So regardless of what way he gets it done. And actually, to bring it back, Jailton Almeida could knock him out on the feet too. Like if he just decides this isn't going to be a grappling match, he can knock him out on the feet. So you're going to get 350 on Almeida, 300 on Hafez, and put them together, you're going to get 17-1.
Wow, nice. Plus 1,700. All right. Boom. Now you got all the winning picks that you need for this coming weekend. If you want to talk more UFC 302 or anything else fight related, we're at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. In the fights channel is where we hang out. Twitter, SGPN MMA. He's at Gumby Vreeland. I'm a Jeff Fox writer there and on Instagram. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Pretty please. MMA Gambling Podcast on YouTube. Get into my Substack. Enter my free pick'em contest at moneymma.substack.com. Gumby has Top Turtle MMA podcast that you don't have to listen to me on, and that is should be in your podcast feed as we speak. If you subscribe there, make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. This week, Basil Hafez, the aforementioned, and Rude Boy Randy Brown are on the show, so listen to those interviews that I'm sure are great. I haven't listened yet, but they normally are great. What else should you do? sportsgamblingpodcast.com, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon. Gumby, bid us farewell. We're going to take a couple of days off now. Go ahead.
All right, I'm Dana Gibby Freeland. He's the tiny eraser, Jeff Fox, and we will see you on Sunday.